John of Giant Jaxx Media. We're helping others to grow and nurture their business. Really excited for my guest today. I have very successful Vistage Chair Thomas Tomasevic. Welcome, Thomas.
Hello, good to be here, Paul.
Yeah, and thank you. And then I have Ross Hartman, who is the founder of Kiingo AI, and it's all about artificial intelligence and what businesses are using it for. Ross, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so let's just jump into this. First of all, I want to start with you, Thomas, and understand a bit about your Vistage practice and what you're doing there, how you may be involved with AI and some of the industries you're dealing with. But what are you focused on?
Got it. So Vistage is a group of it's a national organization with about 10,000 CEOs, 30,000 total executives around the world. And essentially, my objective is to have groups of CEOs that are supported with anything that is important for CEOs. So, of course, that means new technology, it means efficiency, it means hiring, it means dealing with people and whatnot. Artificial intelligence affects all of my 5 groups. So I have 2 groups in Hawaii, 3 groups in Washington State, and essentially a group of about 64 people who are all impacted one way or another by artificial intelligence. So what we're thinking is that what automation is doing in the blue collar segment, artificial intelligence is doing in the white collar segment. So in other words, what are the things that they want to learn about? What are the things that matter to me? How we can do more with less, how we can automate the processes, how we can get out of the state of paralysis, how can we get suggestions, how can we have an intelligent communication without having a partner, right? It seems that so far all of my members are enjoying what ChatGPT, what Google Opportunity, I forget their name, does as well. And so we've been spending lots of time reviewing what are the opportunities, how to use it for marketing, how to use it for editorializing, how to use it for creation of videos and presentations, how to edit, how to create new ideas. So ChatGPT has been a world changer for many, many functions, probably too many to mention.
So yeah, you're obviously knee deep in it. And one of the comments Ross has brought up before when we're talking is that one of the problems for pushing AI forward at businesses is there never seems to be a champion at the company for AI, which really what it takes for any initiative. You got to have a champion. So Thomas, in your experience, is it the owner that's the champion at the businesses you're working with? And are they really kind of taking on that task?
That's a great question. So oftentimes when we have a speaker that opens our eyes to opportunities, CEOs find themselves overwhelmed with the options. And so oftentimes they really need somebody to coach them into how to use it. And so CEO can be a champion, but most of the time they're too busy to do everything because this is about improving variety of different functions, and the CEO is too broad to do all of those functions. So it's really the question is whether they're going to have a champion that is bought into the concept of efficiency through ChatGPT and the like solutions, and whether that person is demonstrating to other people who are maybe a little bit slower to accept it with examples that they can relate to. In some of the more successful companies that I work with, Sasquatch Strength here in Seattle comes to mind. They have a champion, it's a CEO of the company, and he essentially is insisting that people move quicker. It is a question of pace. They are a startup, they need to be quick. And he is demonstrating lots of uses from creating presentations to summarizing their business objectives to communicating more eloquently to a variety of different things, all of which seem to turn a few hours worth of work into a few minutes worth of work.
Yeah, interesting. And Thomas, with your Vistage groups there, I know you've got a great thing going. The industries you're working with and people with your one-to-ones you do and the meetings with the CEOs. Do you have vacant spots, and who are you trying to bring in? Because I know it's important. You don't want to bring in the wrong personality. It's going to screw up what you've got. So who are you looking for?
Well, that's a great question. So who are the CEOs so basically people who are curious, people who have some level of success but are hungry for more, people who know that more minds put together are better than one mind. So some level of humility. So when I try to describe people who are members of my group, they are humble, hungry, and smart. And that essentially, bridges across all 5 groups that I have. I have groups that start at 1 million and go up, and I have groups that start at 250 million and go up. And the character of the people included is high quality of character, primarily curious and open to what the world has to offer.
And you've got some seats open?
I do have some seats open, yeah.
Yeah.
In our group, you have a little bit of churn. I have a few people retiring, successful exits. We call that. They're basically going to be Vistage alumni, which essentially means they're always welcome to come back, but they're sitting on their millions and they don't really need to. But they will, because they will be bored. I know it. And that free up some openings for younger people to jump in.
Yeah, nice, nice. Well, Ross, let's jump over to you now and tell us what's going on with you, and let's dive into that side of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how quickly the AI space is changing. I don't know if you saw Amazon invested $4 billion into a company called Anthropic, which creates a language model or a chatbot called Claude, which is kind of a competitor to ChatGPT. And this week and last week, OpenAI announced that they'd be releasing DALL-E 3, which is their ability to create images directly within ChatGPT. And then also they are rolling out to pro users this week and next week. First of all, the ability to talk to ChatGPT via your voice and have it respond in a human voice. And then additionally, the ability to upload images and have it analyze that. So I've been working with companies, construction companies, doing takeoffs, doing estimates and proposals, analyzing blueprints for some electrical companies and manufacturing companies, analyzing diagrams and graphs in order to get proper estimates. It's incredible. It's all moving so fast. And I think, when people first start using AI, they're like, well, it can write some poems and it can write some songs. But when you really start getting beyond that, you see, wow, this can help me analyze my legal contracts. This can help me draft legal contracts. It can help with sales training. It can help me with cross-selling, upselling, helps me with estimation and proposals, customer support, training bots. And then beyond that, it can help with workflow automation as well. So I seem a little buzzed here, excited because there is so much that can happen with technology or with AI that is happening right now. And I'm kind of overflowing with ideas, essentially.
Yeah, and I know, and I'm going to let Thomas jump in and start asking questions, but tell us what Kiingo does.
Yeah, so Kiingo is an AI consulting company. We also have AI custom software. Typically, there's two ways that companies like to interact with us. One is sometimes they want to just jump right into our software, which is where it's our AI brain. And this is where we tie AI to your company's data. And that allows us to let the AI start pulling out reports from your data, getting data insights, doing automation, answering questions from your data, so those sorts of things. And then there's a lot of custom applications that we do as well as part of that, like improving companies' estimation process, their bidding process, scheduling, just general automation. And then some companies, before they dive into that, they like us to do an AI feasibility and opportunities report. And this is where we come into the company and we basically say, okay, where can AI help you all? So we kind of analyze your operations and your departments from a strategic level and a tactical level and say, here are the AI tools that can most help you. And here's a roadmap and a strategy for how to implement these sort of things. So that's essentially what Kiingo does.
Yeah, yeah. And Thomas, with the industries, what are some of the industries you're working with? And I'm curious to see how Ross might tell us about some of the experiences there.
Sure. So it's an interesting thing that any industry can be impacted, and I'm literal about that. The other day we had a review of a website for a company that distributes parts in Hawaii, in Honolulu, jobbers.com or something like that, auto part jobbers. And they basically see this as a way to define who are their customers, learn from that, modify their service towards that customer, in other words, persona development, and then, of course, word it in such a way that they increase the efficiency of service to their customers. So it is a relatively traditional business in distribution of internal combustion engine parts to a small market, billion people in Hawaii, in Honolulu, right? They're basically benefiting from this thing, all the way to looking at, for example, a new startup that is trying to develop a new marketing platform on which they are trying to improve their sales, they're trying to increase their reach, they're looking for ideas for products and services. So in other words, it is really, I haven't found anybody yet in my groups and my groups cover just about any industry you can imagine, that they can't find applications. So typically what we first focus on, and this is where probably Ross can jump in and help us out, what have you found? What have you found as like the low-hanging fruit? People think of AI as help with communication. And so the adjacent things to communication is emailing, marketing, sales, and the like. The interesting thing is that we are learning that business processes can be just as supported as anything else. And so we are really just at this point scratching the surface of what we believe we can do it. Frankly, I probably know just a half a dozen worth of plugins that come with ChatGPT, and I haven't even engaged with anything that Amazon has to offer or Bard from Google. So I'm trying to be on the cutting edge, and to be honest with you, there is a lot to acquire, a lot to learn, and it requires constant drumming. I'll give you a little example of how excited my people are. So in 2 of the groups last week, we have agreed that we are going to commit some amount of our daily meeting, because we meet for 8 hours once a month. So maybe an hour of time for people to demonstrate how they are using artificial intelligence. In other words, we have realized that nobody can know everything, at least not professional people that have a 9-to-5 job to actually do something specific. Finding the time to learn how to do things better with AI, frankly, starts with knowing what AI can do today, and that is a moving target. Ross, what do you think? How many plugins does the ChatGPT have at this point?
You know, I don't actually know. It's at least hundreds. I would
Keeps growing.
maybe even more. And I would imagine more and more companies would like to get on that list. And the crazy thing is, so Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, was talking about this with plugins, where incredibly valuable. You know, they're in ChatGPT, and it allows you to integrate with other services. So you can, you know, work with Expedia or Instacart, or Wolfram Alpha is a great use case where you can have it do your, you know, rate of return or whatever math problem you have. But then we're seeing so many companies that are just taking this technology, language models, for instance, and they're putting it directly into their software. So Windows, or Microsoft, just announced that Copilot is available in a preview version of Windows 11. I think yesterday they announced this. And so this will, when you next time you update Windows, if you're in the preview version, it'll allow you to pull up, you know, their Copilot, which is similar to what's in Bing, and you can say, like, turn on dark mode, or my speakers aren't working, or change the volume. And you can start to speak to your OS through natural language. And we're just going to start seeing this more and more, to where software is accessible through natural language. You know, AI has been around for 10, 20 plus years in a business environment, right? But it's been in a machine learning perspective, and in the sense that it's been kind of hard to get at data. You need to have machine learning engineers, you need to have data scientists, you have to have a lot of money to work with it. But in the last couple of years, and particularly the last year, with generative AI, it's really opened up the possibilities to where you can tie this technology to your SQL database, let's say, and anybody can just be asking questions in natural language and pull out reports. You don't necessarily have to hire a consultant to help you with Power BI or Dynamics or something, because you can talk to the AI and have it either do it for you or walk you through how to do it. And so, yeah, plugins are huge. This is coming to all of our technology already. And it, you know, sometimes people ask me, like, is this like an NFT thing, or is this like a Bitcoin thing? Is this going to go away? And exactly, I agree, because if you look at how much money is being spent on this, like how much money Meta, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, they're pouring billions, tens of billions into this technology now. And it's not something that's going to be valuable down the line. It's something that's valuable today. And that's the key thing with this.
Well, it is, you know, as a new thing. And I mean, your enthusiasm is infectious and scary, probably to many, you know, because they don't know what you know. But this basically is changing the world as we know, and we are not sometimes even aware of that. About a couple of weeks ago, I had a discussion with a teacher who teaches in Honolulu. She is teaching high school, basically kind of this cross between people going into the college and finishing high school. And she's saying that in her English teaching languages, in her English teaching classes, she has to have people do creative writing only in the class, because anything that is done outside of the class is A+ quality and it's not theirs. right? We know what that means, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, we have taken some of these documents that have come from the kids and put them in the AI recognition system, and AI recognition system said, no, this is human generated. So we're getting to the point that we can't distinguish anymore at all.
So I want to note that OpenAI had a service to be able to distinguish, and maybe you already know this, they actually took it down because it wasn't accurate enough, because there are false positives, there are false negatives. There's no foolproof way to distinguish between human-generated text and machine-generated text. And that's the reality that we're entering into. And speaking on the education side, I don't know if you're familiar with Khan Academy, if you've seen what they're doing with Khan Amigo. I think that's the future of education, where we can have personalized education, personalized tutoring. The AI can actually personalize the content so that it's most interesting to us and most engaging to the students, for instance. There's a lot that's going to change in the education system. There already has been a lot that's changing, but it's the Wild West there right now.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's necessary. I mean, as you said, $4 billion by Amazon. I mean, Amazon has been using AI for a while. They've been using that in creating their presentation of the website to the specific user for, well, years, if not decades. And so that is, I think, the next step. And so some of the things that are scary to people is that, what does this mean for my business? What kind of engine do I need to actually be able to recognize the person that is landing on my website and now create information that is geared towards this person, right? That is where we are now getting, and that's a big scary Baba Yaga in marketing. It's a dynamic creation of website content per person. I think we are in the early stages of that, but it's going to accelerate very quickly. We had an interesting case of one of the people whom I asked to summarize his book for the group. And so this gentleman read the book, The 5 Languages of Love. I thought that was an important topic for my members to understand how people express and expect, communication of emotions to be done. And so this gentleman not only jumped on AI ChatGPT to create a presentation, but he extended it. Many of us are using predictive index as a psychometrics tool for hiring and managing our people. And he asked ChatGPT to align correlation between 2 existing tools, one being the 5 languages of love and the other one being personality. And he has done something that impressed us all. And he kept us impressed, and then later impressed us differently, where he said, the entire presentation was created in 20 minutes by using AI. He just led the communication through the prompts.
Amazing.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And it's interesting because I've noticed, just the apps that I've used, like Calendly, the calendar app, Zoom, this app we're on right now. I'm getting emails from all of them. Hey, we've got AI now. We're introducing AI. So I see it. I see it spreading. And Thomas, the dashboard you use for lead gen, the 2.0 rollout has AI. There's a ChatGPT function in there. So
Excellent.
even at that level, I'm seeing it firsthand for sure.
It's an interesting thing how quickly we are going to. This is inevitable. It's not today yet, but it is only Thursday. So how quickly it is going to turn from something that is new and novel to something we expect as a baseline.
Right.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Ross, I want to question. So the AI factors, and I think I know the answer. I just want to hear you say it. So if you're launching a business where you got to message people, direct them to a site where they're, signing up, and then they've got to fill out a form, and then you've got to generate a proposal, and this is on, based on maybe assets they have and, holdings they have, generate a proposal. Can that all, that can all be automated, correct?
Yes. And so there's so much opportunity when we have to have a little bit of self-reflection, but when you look at your business processes and try to break them down into just their sort of modular tasks. So what is, that kind of flow you talk through there? That's a series of different steps, right? And each of those steps can be automated. And one of the reasons why we start to unlock really full automation is that now you can inject decisions at each point in your automation. You can inject intelligence in there where previously you couldn't do that. Previously, you had to say, okay, well, we got this email, so we have to send it to this spreadsheet, and then that has to send a Slack message or something. Now you can have the AI look at the content, analyze it, make decisions based on it, and then change the actions based on the content. And that is just, that's a new reality. That's incredible.
Yeah, yeah. And Thomas, this came up because, and your members, are going to become aware of this very quickly, but the government just passed new laws, and it's for sort of anti-corruption laws, where anybody that owns an entity, whether it's a limited liability company, corporation, now has to report on who the owner is of it. And if you had somebody set it up, like a law firm, like we set them up, who that person is, you got 1 year to do it. And then you start getting penalties and fees. It's a huge deal. And we just launched a company for it. So we're trying to process out our communication for it and the forms and all that. So as Ross and I were talking about that, Ross, talk about your AI brains that you embed in a company. I'm always fascinated by that.
Yeah, I mean, the central idea is that you can tie AI to your ERP, your CRM, your financial system, your document store like SharePoint and Google Drive or OneDrive. And essentially, it can allow you to, one, just pull back information more quickly. So you can say, what were our sales numbers last quarter? What happened in that meeting last week? What are our processes and procedures? Anything like that. But on top of that, it allows you to pull out reports, right? And then to manipulate those reports, do forecasts, do trend analysis, do anomaly detection, create graphs and visualizations based on that data, start to ask for reports based on natural language. And then you can start to automate different processes that you have, because now you've plugged into all your data stores. And so the central brain is really the start of your company's automation, and we call it the brain for a reason, because it is going to be the core of companies' ability to automate what they do and to make sense of their processes, to really bring transparency to what they're doing. I think there's this vision of being able to know exactly what's going on in your company. Having an AI brain takes you a step closer to that. And so that's one thing that our company does.
Very interesting. Well, I've got to tell everybody listening here, because we could talk about this for the next 4 hours, I think. We could go deep. Is, wherever you're watching this video, because it's going to be streaming everywhere, both of these gentlemen, their contact information is around this. Get connected to them. They're doing great things. I want to thank you both for being here, Thomas and Ross. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Ross.
Yeah, we'll see everybody next time.